Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Good morning. How's everyone doing? It's nice and chilly here. 48 degrees. I had to put on long pants, a hat, and gloves for the dog walks at 4 a.m. What is this? What is this coming to? 100 over the weekend? Now it's 48? Insanity here. Good morning, John. Good morning, McRangers. Good morning, Patrick. Sterling putting in the GDP info, the earnings info. Thank you very much, Sterling. Hope you have a pleasant day off today. I believe it is your day off. Good morning to you. What else do we have? We have, again, we had this morning, we had Caterpillar, which was a miss, and we have Lilly, which was a miss. What else do we have going on? We consider was the Treasury will continue with incremental increases to TIPS auction sizes for the coming quarter. Okay, I did not see that earlier. Real consumer spending 3.7 versus 2.8. Our people are still spending like there's no tomorrow. Now this is rearward looking. And isn't it said what was the GDP came out at 2.8, so down. Consensus was 3, prior was 3, this is 2.8. And with all this government spending too, under the scenes stuff isn't so hot. What else do we have? There's your Miss and Lily. There's some beats. Again, Google was a beat yesterday. Nice little pop off Google. Google's up this morning pretty decently. Good morning, Jacob. Good morning, Ted. ADP also was a beat. Good morning, Jake. Shake Shack, well, there's the important one. Shake Shack with a beat. Hello, Charles. Good morning, Royal Palms. Germany CPI 0.4 versus 0.2 expected. CPI also up in Spain. Now, the PCE for last quarter came in pretty good. The core PCE came in at 2.2, but again, we already knew inflation was pulling back, but is it starting to raise again? And Germany, their CPI is bouncing up. Kraft Heinz with a beat miss. Thank you. Hit the like button. All right, so where do we sit? We sit with the mortgage rates still climbing. I know now they're over 7%. So with that 10-year. ADP saying the employment for the last week just crushed it. I think this is a 6 Sigma beat. It is a private company, so I doubt they're gaming the numbers. Maybe it's just I don't know, holiday high. I don't know. But that was a big beat right before the election. We already went over the GDP numbers, less than expected. What else we have? We have some pending home sales. Then we have our EIA numbers, but the rest of the day is very, very quiet. Very quiet. Again, real consumer spending quarter over quarter was very strong last summer. I mean, last quarter, which was the summer. Good morning, Anissa. So, all right. Let's see. We got Microsoft up going into earnings. You had AMD also had earnings yesterday, and the earnings were not well received. So it's dropping and affecting all the chip sector. There you have Lilly, which was a miss today. But Google's up close to 6.5%. Meta and Microsoft are after the close today, and Amazon also up. Oil a little stronger today, trying to hold some key support. Here's your with Google and Meta. Comm services leading up 3.72%. Healthcare with stuff like Lilly is taking it in the shorts right now. Fed watch still 25 basis cut in November. Fear and greed still solidly in greed. So we already covered that. Sterling put in all the ones. Humana was a beat. So really, after the close today is going to be key with Microsoft and Meta to see if they follow with, I'll still always call it Google, but it's really Alphabet. Also, you had Visa yesterday with a beat, and Chipotle was down after with, I believe, it was a beat, but it was down after. I did not take a look at it this morning. So that's where we sit. That's where we sit. All right. The S&P. This can't, I mean, we had an update yesterday. This is like climbing a wall of worry. Look at the selling pressure up here, above 58.80. As I said yesterday, we bounced. We bounced with the numbers that came out yesterday. The numbers that came out yesterday. Where was it? Recent. I had this. Let's just put on this week. Yesterday's numbers. We had the consumer confidence. Pretty much, this went through the roof based off of like 51% of people surveyed out of 3,000 think the stock market's just going to keep chugging along, putting consumer confidence numbers through the roof yesterday. That's where, if you look at when we got the key reversal, was when the consumer confidence numbers came out, and then we got a little selling, and today we have some selling pressure, but still no close below the rotation zone yet. So I'm still watching on any bounce back rally. It's about 58.80, watching for that selling pressure between 58.80 and 58.95. It's got a real, and we have not been able to close above 58.80 for the 62.5 rule. Could not do it a number of days. So we'll have to see if it can break the streak today. Otherwise, very, very key support. Watch last Wednesday's close, which was roughly yesterday's low and the bottom of the rotation zone, coming in about 58.38. That's going to be key for me. We have daily cycles still climbing up, but it's not made a lot of progress. And a weekly cycle still heading down. So we're going to get to a top going into the election with daily and weekly cycles. I don't want the 5-minute chart. All right, so that's what I'm watching for still. I'll be really starting to focus if we do break below the rotation zone with cycles getting to the top area. I'll really be focusing then for a pullback. And by the way, if we do break out or down for the bigger level, it's still at 57.46 area. NASDAQ coming up here to the high area with Google's earnings, but then dropping lower. We'll have to see if Meta and Microsoft, or even on Thursday, Apple can push it to new highs in the futures market. It has not got there yet. Very key support is at this 20,630 area. Minor target, if it bounces back and rallies, is 28.18 and then 29.30, 20,930. If it breaks below this little breakout support level at this 20,629, the major support area is coming in about 20,550. Other than that, there's no sell signal yet. The Dow is, we do have a potential mini double bottom here. Would need to get at least a 4-hour close above 42,697, so 42,700. That's the only bullish little thing on the Dow. Other than that, it's coming to a very key support area, but 42,130. Now remember, the rotation zone is now against it. So, not that you sell on this, but I'll be very cautious on any rallies unless it can get substantially into this double pattern. And look where the 62.5 is at the final target of the double. So that would be the only rolling longer-term bullish play. This one has a huge auto lending business. Banco Santander, miss. Wow. Okay. Thanks for pointing that out, Sterling. Russell. Again, yesterday poking up above this 50% harmonic and selling back down and coming back down. Key support, watch yesterday's lows, is 22.32 area. Key resistance, 22.60. VIX Still trying to build a little higher base going into the remainder of the week and the election next Tuesday. The DAX now is rolling over, even though it invalidated the mini double, it's rolling over. Watch today, 19,331. If it closes below there, that could be a front run pattern, especially we saw the CPI going up. The CPI going up, thanks to Charles for putting that in there. So the next key price is about this 19,150 area, and then let's see if we trigger this double, which is still in play. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, really 15. So this is not extended too far yet. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You have 5 more days. I gave out the rule of thumb. There's some other more complex rules, but just go off the rule of thumb. That's what I do. We had a little, don't know if anybody spotted this in the notes yesterday. This was a fully qualified mini double bottom, triggered on the 1 hour basis, running all the way up to all 3 targets and then reversing. We got a little easing in yield yesterday and going back to that key area I was talking about with the 200 and the rotation zone. So I'm going to be watching to see if this makes a stronger bottoming pattern or if we roll and break to new lows. The yield, pulling back, by the way, this double was not, it turned into a 1-2 triple then. Even though it came down to hit the first target, we can't really utilize the remainder targets. And catching in the rotation zone and also catching on very, very key support area. Here's your very key support area right around in here. So on any dip below about 4.18, I'm watching for buying pressure. I'm also watching with cycles get to the bottom for some kind of next buy setup for the micro yields. The 10-2s still stalling out about this 20 basis points. Dollar index dip into the rotation zone, still holding some very key support, trying to rotate back up. So far a sideways correction. Next key area I'm watching is about this cluster for 104.50 to 104.57. Crude, little bounce today, but not a fantastic, no fantastic bottoming pattern here. This is a very sloppy, lopsided double that's confirmed but not triggered. It would need at least a 4-hour close, and that would just be a very aggressive against the rotation zone. So I'd really just be focusing on 6930 on a continued bounce, but that hasn't even triggered yet. Gold still marching up. Got the breakout in gold through to little minor targets. Next major target area, we have 2881 to 2819. Gold now getting very overbought again. Very top heavy on the weekly, but no major sells pattern yet. This is getting, and look at this on the monthly. Look at how far we are getting from the rotation zone. And when you pull away this far from the rotation zone, which you can do, you generally have some kind of, that's why I'm going to be watching for a topping pattern, and we could have a couple month at least pause or pullback, but there is no topping pattern yet. This could be getting a blow off top area. The yen, no close above the 62.5 yet on the daily. This 153.56, still watching for that. Key support is back at 152.40 now. Still hitting a fair amount of resistance. The euro, still confirming but not triggering the double, even on the 4-hour or the daily basis. Into the rotation zone, remember, doubles against the rotation zone, drop in probabilities. But there's nothing else there. The only way I'd start watching for the bigger pullback in the dollars if we actually triggered this euro trade. Did anybody, what was that with, did anybody see Supermicro's computers independent auditor Ernst & Young resigns over governance and transparency concerns, citing doubt on board's integrity and reliability of financial statements. Board forms special committee with Cooley LLP and secretary advisors for ongoing review. That's never a good thing when your auditor resigns. Here's your SMCI. You look at, oops. And that really lost its luster after the vertical up, vertical down back to key support. Now, is this going to retrace the full vertical pattern? I mean, theoretically, if you come back here, we're back below the 62.5. Is it going to round trip all the way back down to the $18 range? Something fun to keep an eye on. Back to the spiders. Back to the spideys. Still holding the daily rotation zone. The key level for a closing basis is about 577. Little gap down today, so on a rally, 581.77 for the gap fill, but the key resistance is about 582.80. 582.80 on that. Qs. Legend, what are you doing? The Q's coming up to this 501.47 target yesterday, little gap down. So for the gap fill play would be to 516, then back to 541.47. And then the next major area should we break out if we do a strong Meta and Microsoft earnings is about 504. Someone was cooking the books. There you go, Charles. There you go, Charles. Good morning, Richard. You're a little late. To see the power of the forward harmonics, take a look at Bitcoin. I have an anchor attached to the low from September 6th on the breakout yesterday. It came within 100 of the second harmonic. So Sterling using the forward harmonics from the 6th. From this, he's using a little longer term. So you're using this one right there. Yep. Which is completely fair. This is the key pausing bar. Running up, this is why. You see it broke above key resistance and then also that harmonic coming right into the top area. So that was a great area to target. Your now key support about 69.6, 69.7. This is trying to build a base. Now, as I said on the last thing, and I should be on, I think I'm on Futures Edge again next week. I'm still watching for a breakout and then a potential massive topping pattern in Bitcoin. What else? What else? Doesn't mean the potential topping pattern has to trigger, but I will be watching for it. Wonder what that looks like. I've had to look at it on a monthly chart recently. And technically, we do have a massive topping pattern, but the lows from August would be very key. This may never trigger. But if it did, it would be interesting for the good old Bitcoin. So longer term, I'm going to be keeping an eye on that. What else? NVIDIA dropping a little. Yesterday dropping, especially pre-market with AMD. AMD was a miss on EPS, but a beat on revenue, but the market not liking that and punishing the whole chip sector. So that's where we sit, really. Not much else to talk about. Let's just take a look at Meta and so here's your Meta. Let me update everything here. Here is your Meta. I have not updated these charts in a while on this platform. Little flagging pattern, this little one flagging back, pushing up. On any disappointment, pay attention to the 50 EMA. You completed this little mini double right here. This little mini double was completed. And then the bounce back. If it does break out, The key harmonic for this one I would utilize would be, this would be the big harmonic, would be to 626.51 on any gap up, and then 650. Those would be the two major harmonics I'd use for Meta to the upside. And Microsoft, the key thing, it's never still got a upward close. It's got a downward close above the 62.5, but I like the upward closes. I did do testing on upward versus downward closes, and downward closes do not shift the probabilities much. So we still do not have an upward close. So watch, pay attention if it gaps up and then closes, or today closes above 437.31, which it might going into earnings. The magnet price would then be 458. Just want to see where this would put us to. I'm curious. So we look at the 75 harmonic cluster with the forward harmonics and retracements, and then 455 to 458 would be a very key harmonic area on any gap up. Coin has a potential daily double top setup. Yeah, it still does. Still does. Their key level for coin though is a 231.60 area. If it for any more upside price action. All right. Just checking in. Sterling put Google. Also, Google has this. We talked about this yesterday. This inverse head and shoulders. So let's do the Sterling levels also. That's using the harmonics. Let's see how that all lines up. Coming in right around the 75 harmonic and beyond the first target on the horizontal neckline, inverse head and shoulders. So the continued next targets would be about 183.86 from the inverse head and shoulders, 186.18 from the harmonics, and then 189. So there we go. Peeking at the S&P going into the open, then I've got to jump. On any bounce, pay attention to a really key area around 873 to 874 is very key resistance. It's got to get above and withstand above there for me personally. On the sell-off, based off just prior support and resistance levels, 58.53 is very key if the sell-off continues. Thanks, Jake. Can't really complain that much. You know, it's 48 degrees, but it'll get to the mid 60s today and then be back in the 80s. So it'll all be good. It's supposed to be nice in the Halloween evening tomorrow night. It's supposed to be in the low 70s. So that'll be good for the trick-or-treaters. Got my big bars already. The big bars, handing those out. So I shall see everyone tomorrow morning for the last day of October. Everyone have a fantastic trading day. By the way, I think I'm on Ninja Trader tomorrow. So everyone have a fantastic trading day. I'll talk to everyone then. Bye for now.